obviously big Michigan sports fan, so I've heard all about the Tigers and Lions, and I've actually been to all three places now. Pretty cool setup downtown Detroit, man.
Yeah.
You guys be proud of your teams. They're doing well too. All of them. So.
You been to Holland lately?
Went to Holland early October for my mother-in-law's birthday. You guys who are from Michigan appreciate this. I didn't. So it was October 5th. It was a Sunday. We were off. And so it was like 75 degrees that day. Mm-hmm. My kids swam in Lake Michigan on October 5th.
Wow.
That's brave.
It is.
No, it was like super nice out. Like, so.
All right.
Cool. All right. Now to the real stuff. What you guys got?
It's going to be real casual. He had the Oakland scout, so I just want to make sure you meet, and then we'll bring the players in, and we'll do scrums with players. So how about it?
You guys had a chance to play Oakland early in the season last year.
Yeah.
What from preparing for that zone is actually applicable later in the year?
I think you learn how your team can adapt to just kind of one-off situations. We don't see a whole lot of zone in our league, and we don't really know all the times how we're going to see teams play in a non-conference. And so obviously that was an exhibition that was really good for us. This year we didn't see zone in either one of our exhibitions, so seeing it in our first game will be a bit of a test for us in a different way. But obviously they're really good. Coach Campy probably can coach his own defense. Maybe only Jim Boeheim can rival him in coaching his own defense. They're really, really talented. I actually got a chance to coach when I was a head coach at Oakland. We played there. They have a really good setup. I would imagine they're probably one of the best funded, best resource programs in that league. They have the preseason player of the year in the league. There are some really good coaches in that league. I would imagine he's probably considered the best coach in the league. And so we have a big challenge on our hands. Not that we're not ready for it, but I want to make sure our guys, as we prepare, probably starting later today and then tomorrow, understand that these guys, they beat Kentucky in the tournament 2 years ago, right? So they're not going to be afraid of coming in here and playing in front of a really big crowd. Or Coach Campy's done this a few times. If they get down 10, he's not going to panic. They're going to be ready to compete. And as far as the zone, it'll be something that we have to definitely have a plan for.
Coach, you mentioned Baru there a minute ago, the preseason player of the year. What about his game specifically do you see you guys prepping for and trying to shut down?
I mean, he's just really relentless. And the thing you always worry about when you're a power conference team playing a team that's not is their bigs are usually a little bit more skilled, and they play on the perimeter sometimes a lot more. And so guys like Adai, specifically Malik, aren't necessarily used to defending out there. We saw where Adai had trouble with Zuby when he was out on the perimeter a little bit last week. So we got some film on it to try to teach him this week. But anytime a guy's a player of the year candidate in a conference, that means that his team probably plays through him a lot. And so, foul trouble can be an issue. Obviously, we feel like we got a lot of depth there. But he's talented. He's gotten a lot better from last year. And obviously, being able to watch him play yesterday, even though he didn't play in their first exhibition, playing yesterday gave us an idea that he's going to be a force for them in their league.
Still October,
Yeah.
about as early as it gets. But
Right.
how much are you guys starting to settle into rotations and grouping stuff all together?
I mean, we're still probably maybe a month. I mean, I think I told you guys last year, this first month of the season, as much as you feel good about what you've seen, right? Most people feel good about what they've seen. It still has been against you, and our guys know where we're running. Our guys know what our defensive coverages are, and so how to counter that. Well, other teams are going to show us over the next 3, 4, 5 weeks different things. Whether they double team Elliott, whether they double team Adai, whether they zone us like Oakland will. So I think we'll have to give ourselves a chance to figure out how our guys play in those different situations before we can commit to that. We do feel very confident in our core of returners for sure. We certainly feel confident with Yaks and Adai and Elliott. But who's next, right? Who's the next guy in line? Is it McKenney? Is it Grady? Is it Oscar? Is it, and those things will kind of play itself out as those guys get some experience on the court with the experienced guys.
Yeah, and just maybe some thoughts on McKenney. Obviously, he comes in with all the expectations in the world and the talent.
I'll do this in two ways. One, I've been really fortunate to recruit and coach some really talented people. I've not recruited or coached very many better people. You take basketball away from Trey McKenney tomorrow, and he's going to be an incredibly successful person. He's got a maturity that I've only seen in Cade at his age, only. In 22 years now, coaching college basketball. He's a professional in how he approaches his life. He may be, of all the young guys, he's the most responsible. None of them are irresponsible, but he plans every night what he's doing the next day. He plans when he's going to bed. He plans when he's eating. He stretches. I mean, he does all the things that young guys usually have no clue about. And you talk to them about it, and they're like, why would I do that? Like, because you're going to play against a 23-year-old who's been doing this for 4 years, and you're going to need as many advantages. So that's him as a person. And then as a player, he's really talented. He'll have to figure out how he fits in with this group. It'll probably be the most challenging basketball experience for him that he's gone through. Not that he won't be capable of helping us win and being a big part of our success this year, but he's never been asked not to be a primary playmaking scorer consistently, right? Maybe as a secondary or Batman and Robin with A-Cuff on the AAU team, but even then, right, it was still the two of them. There's going to be some times he's a fifth option on the court in terms of what we're looking to do. And the way we play, he'll figure it out. But I'm curious to watch how he embraces that challenge. And I have no doubt by the way he's worked since he's been here in June that he'll do well. He'll certainly hit some bumps in the road like all freshmen do, but I'm really, really bullish on what he's going to become and what he's going to represent for this program for a long time.
Do you like the aggression he seems to have? Like he doesn't hesitate at all with his outside shot, and then made the one against St. John's.
Yeah, I mean sometimes aggression is it can be a negative if you don't really know how to use it. And again, that's kind of my point. Like, when does he need to be aggressive with this team? If Adai has a clear advantage and he's going to create all the leverage for our offense against whoever, then we need to make sure that that's the focus and not how do I get off a tough shot against a really good defensive player. And he did that a little bit against Cincinnati. I think he was hunting a little bit. He was a little eager to prove himself, which is natural. And just allow it to come to him a little bit more, which again, it's going to be new for him. With Orchard Lake last year, I watched several of their games. Like, he needed to score. And they had a good team, but he needed to score. And sometimes he needed to take shots that he won't need to take here. And then continue to find a way to impact the game in other ways. He's a good passer. He's a good defender. He's got a great ability to see things on the court and communicate them. So yes, we'll need him to be aggressive, but not Orchard Lake aggressive.
Mike, given the talent on the roster and the coaching box too, like, what is your general excitement for to actually begin this journey this season?
I mean, I think any coach you're talking to on the Friday before the Monday the season starts are going to feel, if they're not, and good luck to those guys this year. But everybody's, there's a level of optimism of what they've either done in the off season or what they've seen in the preseason, and what the ceiling is. I think the thing that excites me the most is the quality of people that we have. I use Trey as an example. Will Cheddar, I didn't know at all before I got here. I knew Namari a little bit. I coached against him at Texas Tech, or he was at Texas Tech his freshman year before he transferred to Bama. I was familiar with him. He was in the same class as Cade. So I got to see him quite a bit, but I didn't know Will Cheddar at all. I've not met 10 better people in my life than Will Cheddar. And he is whatever Michigan man is, like, he is it. And he's kind of leads what it means to be in a locker room every day. The things that he values, he makes sure that the guys understand the things that are important in life. And it's kind of helped the young guys, Ricky Lyberg, Winnes Grady, like, adapt to Michigan. But it's also helped guys like who come from different college cultures, Adamar and Will, Morez Johnson, Elliot Cadeau, who all come from really good teams, coached by really good people, just seeing what it could be like here. So that's what I'm most excited about, is that gives you a chance, and undoubtedly there's going to be a point where we hit a little bit of a challenge. It's sickness, injury, we lose it on a butt, whatever. Something's going to happen that's going to create some adversity in our locker room, and that is what gives you a chance to still become what you are capable of, is the quality of people who don't start pointing fingers and start taking in all the outside noise and start buying into individualism over our team. So that's what I'm most excited about, is we got a group of people in our locker room who really care about each other and care about winning. And then obviously the talent level speaks for itself. It's the most talented group, collection of people that I've been around. You know, nobody on his team is necessarily the alpha that Cade is from a playing individual standpoint, but he also didn't play with another guy like him. We have guys who are very, very complimentary of each other. I think we have several guys who will make a lot of money playing basketball.
Like, I guess from the guys that are back from last year's team, who are you most excited to see? Like, who has positioned themselves maybe to take that biggest jump from last year?
You know, it's kind of been a little bit of a moving target. I would argue that LJ probably had the best summer, but that's fairly natural going from your freshman year when you don't know college basketball to then jumping in and playing your first real game and going 8 for 8 and having 20 points, and then forgetting how to play basketball for a month. Like, he went through it all last year, and so I think he had a real kind of a true experience of what this could potentially be on the good side and the other. And I think he took all of it in and really committed himself to just maturing, being more organized, taking the off the court preparation seriously. The stuff I talked about McKenna already having, like LJ didn't have any of it last year. Like, he didn't know he was going to play, and then again, he gets 20 points, and he's like, well, I'm going to go to the NBA now. And nope, you're going to be in college again. So I would say in the summer but he's been kind of in and out this fall. So it's been a little bit more difficult for him to have that consistency. Rody had a good off-season and preseason. And Amari has been as solid as they come. I mean, they've all been good. Will is probably as consistent as they are. He is who he is, whether he plays 8 minutes or 28 minutes. So I'm excited for all of them. I think LJ's probably just by natural age, right? Those guys are older. They've got less room to grow. He's probably got the biggest growth opportunity ahead of him. But I think they're all going to play a big role if we do the things that we would like to do.
Dusty talked on Monday about still trying to figure out what was maybe behind the turnovers in the 2 exhibition games. Do you feel like since then you guys have maybe identified what those problems were caused by or potential solutions?
You know, some of it is guys being in position to play live basketball for the first time against another team who plays again different than we do. And some of it is just careless. Like, we had some turnovers, and again, I hope this isn't a theme. I don't think it will be. With this, there aren't really forced turnovers. I mean, Rody's turnover to LJ in transition the other day is kind of like just two guys not really understanding each other. They played together for a whole year. So there's certainly going to be an emphasis on that early in the season. I think we just got to make sure we're holding to a higher level of accountability. We have more depth this year, and so I think there'll be a shorter leash early to try to nip that in the bud as we get into games and understanding that it can lose us games and lose us leads and maybe put us in a position where we're in a closer game than we should be sometimes. So that may be the approach as we start Monday.
Dusty was talking earlier about the switching defense and how it often looks disjointed and like a mess for the first month or so.
Yeah.
What's your assessment of where it's at this point, and what are the benefits of sticking through this kind of learning the ropes period?
I think that's probably the biggest advantage that we have as a team is that our staff has all been together now. No staff turnovers, probably more important than maybe people think, because last year we were all figuring out our own individual philosophies of how they work together well with the team. And now we're just trying to figure out, we know what it looks like for us to play well and how we want to coach. And now it's getting the combinations that'll be on the court to understand how things change depending on who's on the court with you. When Adai's in with Morez, his role's gonna be different than when he's the 5 and Yax is the 4. When Will's the 4 and Yax is the 5, it may look even a little bit different, and we feel really comfortable with that. And so it's gonna take some time for those guys to make those adjustments in game, which was why it was really important for us to get Adai and Morez back for at least some real live action before we started. But I'm really confident that we're going to be a really, really good defensive team. We have the size, the versatility, the physicality, which I think was lacking some last year. The physicality to rebound the ball and some against really physical rebounding teams. And then obviously not giving up second chance points gives you a chance to play as fast as we want to. I said it all last year, and this is certainly not pointing fingers, but our turnovers and our lack of rebounding was as much a cause for our defensive numbers to slip over the course of the season as anything. But I do think that we'll continue to get better, and as those guys play together defensively, and learn where the spots are, how to cover for each other, because our switching can be a problem with our size and versatility.
On the coaching staff continuity, did you have the scout for Oakland last year, and do you guys anticipate kind of keeping
I
the same
didn't.
teams?
I can't remember. That's one thing. We also still like to challenge ourselves as coaches. And last year was an exhibition. I don't know how much we actually put into the prep for the exhibition. We try to give kind of a little bit of bone skeleton, like just meat and potatoes, but no real details. Because again, you're still learning so much about yourself. You don't want to be super clouded. But the games matter now, and we'll be really, really prepared for them.
Just back to the rebounding, Dusty seems to really subscribe to the idea of guards coming down and Elliott getting bored so he can push tempo. Are you of that same page, or because sometimes he'll have bigs just sort of clear out so
Sure.
others can come in?
Yeah,
How does that factor into the defense?
The fact of the matter, and it may not be as prevalent, because outside of Baru, Oakland doesn't have a bunch of big physical guys. So it may not be the case on Monday, but you turn to the next part of the schedule, you get the ACC team, Big 12 team, like they're gonna have bigger physical guys. Our big guys are gonna be probably in sort of wrestling matches with guys trying to fight for the boards. And so if the other team's guards are getting back on defense, then that should free our guys up to run in there and get loose balls and track down long rebounds and stuff like that. Guard rebound is probably as much of a key for you being able to play fast as anything. It eliminates one pass from the break. But then obviously you have a little bit of a unique piece in Yaxel, like Danny last year, could rebound as a big and initiate the break himself and be a really good decision maker. So with all those things, guard rebounding will be a really, really big part of how we try to coach this team. And that's Rody and Amari and Trey McKenney and those wings, as well as Elliott and Delgin.
And speaking of Rody, because of the slump he had last year, do you think people are maybe underrating what he is going to bring to this year?
I mean, he earned it. And I love him. I'm as close to him as anybody on the team. And we actually had a conversation this week about, not necessarily him individually playing, but what this thing could look like from a legacy standpoint if our team is able to perform at the level. And, I think Roddy's got a chance to be kind of the Lou Dort of this team. And I'm talking just the physical wing defender in the league with a lot of really good perimeter playmaking guards. Go down the list. I think 3 of the top 5 point guards in the country, if you look at any point guard list, are in this conference. And if he can make a mark on himself, it could do well for him individually. But obviously that's going to be a big part of us being able to be really successful. Then on the offensive side, I think there's a little bit less necessarily pressure. I think obviously all the noise about him coming from Ohio State probably dissipated, at least to some degree, until we played him probably. And now he could just be him as a Michigan returner and be able to play with a little bit more freedom and less focus on trying to prove something about who he is, and just be a good player on a really good team. And then if he takes a defensive part and uses his natural ability, I think it could be a life-changing year for him.
Like you're gonna raise a banner before the game, I imagine, right before for the Big Ten tournament. When that's happening, what are you gonna maybe be thinking about, or if you're gonna be thinking about Oakland, I guess what are the best memories?
I'm a little bit weird in this regard. Like, it's not really as much as the team that'll be out there. Like, we'll have 9 guys who didn't participate in that deal, right, on the court at the time, or at least out on the floor. They won't be on the court, but I'll think about Ian Burns and Jace Howard and the guys who probably won't be here, but that were a big part of us being able to do that. Obviously not the guys who necessarily transferred out because they made a choice not to be back, but the guys who were part of it that graduated from here that will be proud of that being their lasting legacy for the rest of their lives at Michigan. And so, and also, right, the importance of it for Coach May, because I think there's a lot of stats you could probably pull from his first year as a head coach in the Big Ten that would maybe shock people about the level of success winning the Big Ten championship, the biggest turnaround, all that stuff. And he's just scratching the surface. I've been around a lot of really good coaches. This has been like an unbelievable sabbatical for me. If I'm ever a head coach again, whatever success I have will be a big part of me being here working for him for a year.
I guess off that, did you listen to anything about potential head coaching roles over the offseason or anything like that?
I mean, I don't usually talk publicly about any of those things. I mean, there's always an interest. But I really believe in what we're doing here. I believe that Coach May is the right guy for my career as well as here at Michigan. And I'm just excited to be a part of it. There is a desire in me to be a head coach again. No one wants to be their last coaching job, right? Whatever the game was, right? But I got fired at the end of the day. And so as a competitor, there's a desire at some point again to do it. It's not a pressing desire. It's not a dying urge. And it's got to be the right situation. And this is going to be a hard place to leave, understanding what we have in front of us and opportunities things we can do.
What, I mean, I guess just to your individual path here, was that humbling to you I mean, being like coaching Cade in a power conference and then taking an assistant role, or how did you view it?
I feel like I'm a pretty humble person, kind of naturally. I don't know if necessarily taken, because to me, it's really, the position is sort of irrelevant, to be honest. Honestly, I don't have to do this very often, so I don't mind not having to do this. And it's nothing against you guys. I'd rather be in the gym, getting ready for practice. And so there are things about it that, I don't miss necessarily. But obviously, like I said, as a competitor, I'd like to be able to be viewed as a successful head coach again. And I think we had a level of success that maybe was, cut short a little bit. But to me, it's just being a part of a group. The greatest, other than being a dad, a husband, like being a part of a team is the most important thing in my life. Since I was 4 years old, I've been part of a team. And I don't know what I would do if I wasn't, to be honest. I got asked to do TV, and I thought about it for about 30 seconds. And the thing that came to me is, then the games don't matter. And I don't know people who do that. Maybe they feel differently. But like, I don't want to leave the game and the win or loss has no impact on how I view, not necessarily myself, but that's how I'm driven. Like I want, if I lose, like to figure it out. And if we win, to know why and try to do it again. And again, that's just my competitive nature. But I love being here and being around these guys. And the opportunity in front of us is a great one.
Anything else? Okay, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Coach.
See you Monday.